Hey man, before you assume she's happy without you, before you convince yourself that she's truly moved on and found peace, pause for a moment. Look beyond the surface, beyond the curated smiles, the captions about healing, and the sudden burst of confidence that seems to have replaced what you once were to her, because that version of happiness she's projecting isn't real happiness, it's survival, it's distraction wearing makeup. When a woman leaves a man she once had an emotional bond with, she doesn't instantly move on, she performs moving on. She tries to fill the silence with noise, the absence with attention, the loss with validation, but beneath that, in the quiet moments when no one's watching, she feels what she's trying so hard to avoid, the gravity of what she walked away from. You see, women process loss backward. They celebrate at first, and then they feel it later. She's not happier, she's louder, she's posting more, talking more, showing more, all to prove something not to the world, but to herself. Because deep down, she knows what she lost. But pride is a powerful mask. She'll convince herself she's healed, that leaving was the right choice, that you were the problem. It's how she protects her ego from collapsing under the weight of regret. So she'll drown that guilt in distractions, nights out, temporary attention, new faces, meaningless connections. But here's what she doesn't realize yet. Every attempt to prove she's over you keeps her tied to you, because the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. And if she's still trying to show you she's fine, she's anything but. Her new happiness isn't growth, it's resistance. It's a rebellion against the void you left behind. But you're stuck in a different kind of silence. You look at her smiling and wonder how she's doing it so effortlessly, while you're fighting to hold yourself together. You replay memories, compare yourself to the new people in her life, and torture yourself with the idea that you were easily replaced. But here's the truth. Most men never realize she's not ahead of you in healing, she's behind you in acceptance. Because while you're facing your pain, she's avoiding hers. You're doing the real work, sitting with the loss, questioning your mistakes, confronting your emotions. That's what men do when they evolve. You don't numb it, you transmute it. And though that process hurts, it's the kind of pain that builds wisdom, the kind that turns heartbreak into strength. So don't envy her performance, honor your silence, because what you're building is permanent, what she's performing is temporary. Eventually the high fades. The attention stops feeling like validation. The new connections lose their novelty. The same cycle that once made her feel powerful now starts to feel empty, because emotional fulfillment doesn't come from being desired, it comes from being understood. And deep down, she knows you understood her in ways she never admitted. You saw her darkness and didn't flinch. You listened when no one else cared. You gave her consistency in a world addicted to temporary thrills. But she mistook stability for boredom, peace for weakness, effort for routine. Now as she chases excitement in other arms, she'll start realizing how rare your calm truly was. That's when regret doesn't knock, it seeps in quietly. It comes in the middle of the night when she checks her phone and doesn't see your name. It comes when she laughs with someone new and realizes she doesn't feel safe. It comes when she realizes that peace and passion can coexist. She just had to lose both to understand it. But don't wait for that moment. Don't make her regret your goal, because your healing was never supposed to be a performance either. The more you focus on her reaction, the more you stay trapped in her orbit. The real power comes when you stop looking at her page, stop reading between the lines of her captions, and start writing your own story again. Let her think you're forgotten, because that mystery will do more damage than any attempt to prove your worth. Remember, what breaks a woman isn't a man's anger, it's his indifference. When you no longer seek closure, when you no longer need to be understood, when you can walk away without resentment, that's when your silence becomes unbearable to her. Because she can handle being hated, she can handle being blocked, but she can't handle being irrelevant. That's the moment her world starts to shake, when the man who once gave her meaning no longer looks her way. See, the beauty of detachment is that it doesn't announce itself. It doesn't scream, it doesn't post, it doesn't perform, it just is. And when a man reaches that level of emotional calm, it changes everything. Your stillness becomes her storm. She starts wondering how you stopped caring so easily. Not realizing it wasn't easy, it was necessary. You didn't stop feeling, you stopped feeding what was already gone. You began redirecting that energy inward, building yourself back piece by piece, until the version of you she once knew no longer exists. And that's what really scares her, because now she can't reach you. Not physically, not emotionally, not energetically. She used to be the center of your world, and now she's just a distant memory in the world you rebuilt. That quiet transformation, that invisible rise, is what makes her start missing you long before she admits it to herself. Her ego won't let her admit that she misses you at first, so she'll frame it differently. She'll say she's just curious, that she's checking in, that she just wondered how you've been. But curiosity isn't casual when it's born from regret. Every little piece of information she can gather about you, a photo, a status update, a rumor, becomes fuel for the silent war happening inside her. Because the man she thought would always be there no longer is. And even if you don't respond, your absence speaks in volumes she can't unhear. That's why she'll test the waters. Maybe a subtle like, a harmless text, a delayed reaction. But you, having grown, won't take the bait. You've already understood that the man who reacts loses control, so you remain silent, composed, detached, and the less you give her, the more she wants. Because women are addicted to the feeling of being desired, and when that desire disappears, they start chasing it. Meanwhile, she's trying to convince everyone, including herself, that she's fine. She'll go out with friends, post smiles, laugh in photos, maybe even date someone new, but there's a hollowness to it now. Because nothing compares to what she had with you. Not because you were perfect, but because you were real. You didn't need filters or performances to connect. You built emotional depth when everyone else was building facades. And now, surrounded by surface-level attention, she feels unseen. The world gives her likes, but no one gives her understanding. That's the difference between being admired and being known. And she's finally starting to see it. The man she thought she outgrew has now outgrown the version of her that thought leaving was freedom. What used to feel like power, walking away, now feels like punishment, because every new connection just reminds her of how irreplaceable authenticity really is. But here's where your patience pays off. Not because she comes back, but because you don't need her to. You see, detachment isn't about ignoring her. It's about outgrowing the version of you that needed her validation to feel complete. You've evolved from emotional dependence to emotional discipline. That's the difference between attraction and attachment. She was attached to the man who made her feel something. You've become the man who doesn't need to feel anything to know his worth. That shift in mindset changes how the world reacts to you. You'll notice new people are drawn to your energy, not because you're trying harder, but because you've stopped trying at all. Real confidence is quiet. It's not about control, it's about peace. And when you radiate that peace, you become magnetic in ways that words can't explain. She feels it too, even from afar, because the same energy that once begged for her attention now commands her respect. And when that realization finally hits her, that you've moved on not in spite of her, but beyond her, that's when the illusion shatters. She'll scroll through your pictures, see the calm in your eyes, the purpose in your actions, the glow that only comes from peace, and it'll sting, because now she knows that her leaving didn't break you, it built you. You didn't fall apart, you ascended, and that's something she can't compete with. Her happiness was temporary. Yours became transformation. Her healing was a show. Yours was silent evolution. And deep down, she'll know you were the one who truly cared, the one who stayed steady when she was uncertain, the one who could have given her everything if only she hadn't mistaken your love for weakness. But now, it's too late, because the man who once waited for her text has learned to wait for no one. And that, my friend, is when she finally understands what loss truly feels like. The moment her pride starts to crumble, it won't be loud. It will happen in silence, in the space between her pretending and her realizing. It begins when she wakes up one morning and doesn't feel that familiar rush from her distractions anymore. The attention feels meaningless. The conversations with new people feel forced. The validation that used to fuel her now feels like empty calories. And suddenly, she starts remembering the peace she once had around you, the quiet moments that didn't need words, the way you'd listen, not to respond, but to understand, the way you didn't chase attention because your presence already commanded it. She'll remember those things not as memories, but as medicine, something her soul can't find again. Because once a woman experiences a man with calm confidence, everything after him feels chaotic. It's not that you were perfect, it's that you were real, and reality once lost becomes the rarest thing to find again. She'll start to feel it most when her world gets quiet, when the crowd fades, the messages stop, and the distractions lose their shine. That's when her thoughts will turn back to you, not because she wants attention, but because she misses how grounded you made her feel. You see, women live in emotion, and when that emotion finds stability, it feels like home. You were that home for her. Steady, certain, unshaken. But she confused safety with boredom. She mistook consistency for control. And now she's chasing highs in a world full of temporary men who offer sparks but never fire. That's why she can't truly be happy without you. Because happiness that depends on constant stimulation isn't happiness at all. It's exhaustion. She doesn't realize it yet, but she's running on fumes. And one day, she'll stop running, and that's when your silence will catch up to her. When she finally sits in that silence, she'll replay everything. The arguments, the distance, the goodbye. But she won't remember your flaws the way she once did. She'll remember her reactions to them, how she exaggerated your imperfections to justify her leaving, how she blamed you to avoid facing herself, and how every reason she told herself for walking away doesn't hold the same weight anymore. That's what regret really is. When your past excuses no longer make emotional sense, she'll start seeing you through a new lens, not as the man she left, but as the man who stayed true even when she didn't. And that realization won't bring peace, it'll bring shame, because deep down she'll know that your silence wasn't a game, it was growth. You didn't disappear to punish her, you disappeared to protect your peace. And now that peace is the one thing she can't recreate without you. What breaks her the most isn't seeing you move on, it's realizing you did it without bitterness. You didn't retaliate, you didn't post revenge quotes or beg for closure. You simply vanished into your purpose. And that's the kind of strength women don't forget. Because while she was busy proving a point, you were building one. Your absence became a statement, not of ego, but of evolution. You showed her what it means to walk away with grace. That's a language few understand, that everyone feels. She'll see your progress, your glow, your peace, and it will expose everything she lost by choosing chaos over clarity. You see, the world teaches women that men like you are replaceable until they try to replace you. Then reality hits. Because while anyone can make her feel wanted, very few can make her feel safe. And when she realizes you are the difference, it's too late to go back. But here's the twist. By the time she finally feels the full weight of losing you, you won't be there anymore. Not just physically, but emotionally. The version of you that would have answered her message, entertained her confusion, or offered her another chance no longer exists. You've grown into someone her old patterns can't even reach. The man she knew needed love to feel strong. The man you've become finds strength in solitude. You've learned that peace doesn't need permission, and happiness doesn't need an audience. You've stopped waiting for anyone to understand your worth. You've built a life that reflects it. So when she finally reaches out, and she will, you'll feel nothing but calm. No rush of emotion, no sting of nostalgia, no desire to reopen old wounds, just quiet understanding. Because you finally get it. Closure isn't something she gives you, it's something you decide for yourself. Now, from her side, that realization burns. She'll start comparing every new man to you, not consciously at first, but through small reactions. The way someone's tone irritates her because it lacks your patience, the way someone's energy feels unstable because it lacks your focus. She'll find herself missing the things she once took for granted, your discipline, your calm, your leadership. And it'll frustrate her because she used to think those things made you dull. Now she understands they made you dependable. She'll realize that emotional chaos may feel thrilling, but it's never fulfilling. And in that moment, she'll envy the peace she once walked away from. She might not say it out loud, but she'll feel it every time she's around a man who mirrors her, reactive, insecure, uncertain. Because once a woman tastes masculine stillness, everything else feels like noise. That's why you must never chase her again. Because what she's really chasing now isn't you, it's her old power over you. She misses the validation, not the connection, the control, not the intimacy. And if you let her back in before she's done healing, she'll repeat the same cycle. Remember, it's not your job to teach her the value of your presence twice. You already showed her what real love looks like. Calm, consistent, intentional. You already gave her a safe space to grow. But when she chose uncertainty, she also chose the consequences. Your only job now is to protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. Don't break your own healing to rescue someone from theirs. If she ever comes back, let her meet the version of you who no longer needs her to understand what she walked away from. Because that man, the one who no longer reacts, is the man who wins. You see, women often realize the value of a man only after they've lost access to his energy. It's not the memories they miss, it's the stability. You are the anchor in her storm, the silence in her noise, the logic in her chaos, and once you removed that from her life, she started to drift. But by then, it was already too late. You've become something else, detached, elevated, focused. That's the true essence of masculine power, the ability to feel deeply and still choose peace over drama. You've mastered emotional control, and that's something no amount of charm or manipulation can penetrate. You've learned that love without respect is self-destruction, and you'd rather be alone in truth than accompanied in delusion. That mindset doesn't just protect you, it attracts the kind of peace no relationship can take away. So when she finally admits, even silently, that she misses you, understand this: she doesn't miss who you were, she misses who she was when she was with you. You made her feel feminine, safe, grounded. You gave her the structure her emotions secretly crave. That's why she's struggling to replace you, because she's not just replacing a person, she's replacing a feeling. But what she doesn't know is that you've already replaced her too. Not with someone else, but with yourself. You've filled your own void, learned your own worth, found your own peace. You're no longer a man who seeks completion in another person. You've become complete on your own. And that's what makes you truly rare. Because men like you don't come from comfort, they're forged in heartbreak, built from silence, and defined by how gracefully they let go. So before you think she's happy without you, remember this: what looks like happiness often hides heaviness. What looks like moving on often masks regret. And what looks like peace is often just distraction. The truth is, she's still watching, still wondering, still replaying the story she told herself she was done with. Because no matter how far she runs, she can't escape the feeling that she lost something real. But you're not running. You're rooted, grounded, free. You've learned that letting go isn't losing, it's winning without needing to fight. You've realized that silence is the loudest form of power, and peace is the most masculine energy there is. So keep moving forward, not to make her jealous, not to make her regret, but because you finally understand, happiness isn't proving you're okay without her. It's knowing you always were. There will come a time when the quiet will be too loud for her to ignore. The world she built after you, full of noise, distractions, and artificial highs, will start to collapse under its own weight. She'll find herself in conversations that feel shallow, moments that feel staged, and company that only reminds her of what she lost. Because here's the thing, most people never understand. When someone walks away from something pure, everything after that feels like a downgrade, no matter how pretty it looks on the outside. She'll lie in bed next to someone new and feel a strange kind of emptiness, a hollow echo where your presence used to be. It won't make sense to her at first. She'll try to blame it on timing, on life, on just not feeling ready, but deep down she'll know. The kind of peace she once felt with you can't be manufactured. It was earned through trust, through patience, through quiet understanding, and now that she's lost it, every attempt to recreate it will just remind her of you. As her regret deepens, she'll start rewriting history in her mind. She'll convince herself she didn't mean to hurt you, that she was confused, that she needed time to find herself. But those are just the stories pride tells when it can't admit guilt. What truly haunts her is not what she did, it's what she destroyed. Because you weren't just another man in her life, you were a mirror reflecting her highest potential. Around you, she didn't have to perform. She could be herself, raw, flawed, real. And now every new relationship feels like acting. Every good morning text feels hollow. Every conversation feels like a script. That's the cost of losing authenticity. You start living in imitation. And she knows now that no amount of flattery or attention will ever replace the kind of connection that made her feel both safe and seen. That realization doesn't hit all at once. It creeps in slowly, like the chill that follows the sunset. The irony is that the more she pretends she's happy, the more miserable she becomes, because pretending requires energy and regret drains it. The weight of her choices grows heavier in the quiet moments when she's alone, when her phone doesn't buzz, when the mirror forces her to face herself. That's when she remembers how you handled her chaos with calm, how you didn't argue to win but to understand, how your silence wasn't punishment, it was restraint, and she'll wish she had seen it then, the way she sees it now. But time has a cruel way of making wisdom arrive too late. You see, most women don't realize the value of masculine peace until they've exhausted themselves chasing emotional noise. And by the time she does, you'll have become a man who no longer needs her apology. You won't hate her. You won't even resent her. You'll just look back and feel gratitude for the pain that woke you up to your worth. But her realization doesn't end with regret. It transforms into obsession. She'll start wondering where you are, who you're with, and if you've forgotten her completely. It's not love anymore, it's ego wrapped in nostalgia. She'll replay old photos, scroll through your old messages, maybe even type a text and delete it before sending, because now the silence that once made her feel powerful makes her feel powerless. You've inverted the dynamic. She used to control the rhythm of the connection. Now you do by doing nothing at all. That's the paradox of masculine energy. The more you pull back, the more she leans forward, not because she truly wants to reconnect, but because she can't accept that she no longer has influence over you. You've become untouchable, not because you're hiding, but because you've elevated. And nothing frustrates a woman more than realizing she can't reach a man she once controlled effortlessly. And when she finally tries, when she sends that message or tests the waters with a small hey, you'll feel that old familiar tug in your chest, but it won't move you. You'll read it not with emotion, but with clarity. You'll see it for what it is, a reflection of her confusion, not your worth. Because you've outgrown the need for closure from anyone who couldn't meet you halfway. You understand now that love doesn't mean rescuing someone from their own lessons. It means walking away when they refuse to grow with you. So you'll smile, maybe even feel compassion, but you won't respond, not out of pride, but out of peace. Because silence isn't about ignoring her, it's about respecting yourself. You've learned that some doors close, not because you stop caring, but because you finally realize your value doesn't depend on who walks through them. And that right there is what breaks her completely. Not your anger, not your words, your indifference. When the final mask falls, it won't happen in a dramatic outburst or a tearful confession. It'll happen in silence. She'll realize she's surrounded by people who talk but don't listen, who touch but don't connect, who stay but never truly see her. The laughter she once used to fill the void will start to sound artificial. The dates she once enjoyed will start to feel transactional. And the life she built to prove she didn't need you will suddenly feel meaningless. Because the truth is, when you lose a man who gave you depth, every form of shallowness starts to suffocate you. She'll begin to remember the stillness in your presence, the way you made her feel secure even in uncertainty, the way your words carried weight, not because you spoke often, but because when you did, it mattered. And now every man she meets reminds her of the contrast of how rare your energy was, how grounded your spirit felt. She's not missing you for what you did. She's missing you for who you were when she still had access to you. And that's the kind of loss no distraction can numb. Eventually she'll reach the stage of silent realization, the one where nostalgia turns into remorse. She'll scroll through your old photos, hoping to see a trace of the man who once looked at her with warmth. But instead, she'll see a man transformed, sharper, calmer, more focused. You'll look untouchable, not because of arrogance, but because of peace. And that's what cuts her the deepest. She'll realize she was your storm, and somehow you learned to dance in the rain. She'll see that you didn't just move on, you elevated. While she was busy proving her independence, you built your empire. While she was seeking validation, you built value. That quiet strength, that glow of a man who's healed, it haunts her because it exposes the truth she's been trying to avoid. You were never the problem, you were the lesson. And now she's living with the consequences of failing the test. In her quiet moments, she'll start replaying the small things, the way you smiled before speaking, the way you never forced her to change but inspired her to be better, the way you carried silence like a shield instead of a weapon. She'll remember the nights when your presence said more than her words ever could. But the memory won't bring comfort, it'll bring ache. Because there's nothing more painful for a woman than realizing she was loved by a man who truly understood her and still lost him through her own pride. She'll wish she had stayed when you asked her to communicate instead of argue, to connect instead of control. She'll wish she hadn't tested the limits of your patience. But life doesn't give do-overs, it gives mirrors. And every time she meets a man who mirrors her chaos, instead of grounding it, she'll remember the calm she once took for granted. That's the punishment her ego never prepared her for. From your side, you'll see glimpses of her trying to circle back, a like here, a story view there, maybe a mutual friend mentioning her name casually. But you'll remain unfazed, because now you understand what she never did. That real power isn't in getting her back, it's in never needing her again. You've detached from the illusion that love is about possession. You've learned that true love only thrives in freedom. So instead of waiting for her return, you'll keep investing in yourself, in your discipline, your purpose, your peace. You'll notice your energy attracting people who match your new frequency. Women who respect, not manipulate, who admire, not test, who nurture, not drain. And that's when you'll realize something profound. Her leaving wasn't the tragedy you thought it was. It was the initiation. The moment you became the man you were always meant to be. Not defined by heartbreak, but refined by it. And somewhere far away, she'll feel that shift. Not through words or messages, but through energy. She'll sense that her pull on you is gone. That her beauty no longer moves you. That her absence no longer hurts you. That's when it will finally hit her. She's not missing you anymore. She's mourning you. Mourning the man who loved her selflessly. Mourning the connection she couldn't sustain. Mourning the peace she mistook for weakness. And she'll finally understand the cruel truth. She didn't lose you when she walked away. She lost you when she stopped appreciating you. But by the time that realization settles, it will be too late, because the man she could have had no longer exists. The boy she once knew died in heartbreak, and the man who stands in his place has no room for the past. You've become the lesson that changed her forever, and the silence that haunts her always. As time passes, her attempts to distract herself will start to lose their grip. The nights out with friends, the late night scrolling, the impulsive talking stages, they'll all begin to feel like recycled noise. It's as if she's living on repeat, doing the same things with different faces, but feeling the same emptiness every time. And that's when the real grief begins, not over losing you, but over losing herself when she lost you, because you were the mirror that showed her what calm, authentic love looked like. You grounded her storms without dimming her fire. You saw through her defenses without judging them. But now, she's surrounded by men who only see the surface, who fall for her beauty, but never touch her depth. And every shallow interaction reminds her that she traded something real for something loud. You were quiet love, rare, patient, stable, and she'll realize too late that quiet love doesn't chase, it disappears. One morning she'll wake up and feel it, that weight in her chest that doesn't go away. It's not heartbreak anymore, it's awareness, the kind that makes you pause mid-coffee sip because your soul suddenly remembers something it shouldn't have forgotten. She'll see your name somewhere, maybe a post, a mutual tag, a comment, and it'll hit her in waves. Not because she wants you back in the same way, but because she knows the version of you who loved her doesn't exist anymore. That version of you, who once overthought her texts, who checked his phone hoping she'd reach out, who stayed up trying to make sense of her silence, he's gone. In his place stands a man who no longer waits, who no longer explains, who no longer fights for peace that cost him his own. That transformation, that glow she once took for granted will pierce through her like guilt. She can't confess. Her pride will tell her to move on, but her spirit won't let her. Because women don't just miss men, they miss the feeling men create in them. You made her feel safe in her femininity, free in her vulnerability, secure in her softness, and the men she meets now can't do that. They either want control or validation, never balance. They crave attention, not connection. And she'll start realizing that your emotional discipline, the same one she once called cold, was the very thing that made her feel calm. The stillness you carried wasn't emotional distance, it was presence. She mistook composure for indifference, and now she's surrounded by men who confuse neediness for affection. That's when the truth will hit her hardest. She didn't just lose you, she lost her equilibrium. You were the stability her emotions secretly depended on. And now without that anchor, everything in her feels like driftwood in a storm. By now, you'll be in a different space entirely. Physically, emotionally, spiritually. You'll look back and feel gratitude, not grief. Because her leaving didn't destroy you, it revealed you. It forced you to build where she broke, to focus where you once begged, to lead where you once followed. You'll notice how your silence evolved into power, how your patience turned into standards, how your loneliness became discipline. The pain she left behind became the foundation of your peace, and that's what will forever separate you from her world. You turned your heartbreak into a higher version of yourself, while she turned hers into a performance. You healed quietly, she tried to heal publicly. You grew roots, she grew followers, and while she's still chasing closure, you've built clarity. You no longer need the past to make sense, because the man you've become is proof that it already did, but her mind won't let her rest. The same way you used to replay her mixed signals, she'll now replay your silence. She'll analyze your every post, every story, every new person around you, not out of curiosity, but out of longing, because silence leaves room for imagination, and imagination can be torture. She'll wonder if you think of her, if you've moved on, if the way you used to look at her has found a new target, and no answer will give her peace, because deep down, she knows the truth. You did think of her once. You did miss her, deeply, But now you've found peace in not knowing her anymore. You've reached the stage she thought she'd reach first. Indifference, the kind that's not angry or bitter, just free. And that's the kind of peace that can't be faked. It radiates without words, and when she feels it, it'll undo her completely. Soon, she'll start projecting her regret through pride. She'll act like she doesn't care, like she's thriving, like she's finally found herself. But you'll know better, because happiness doesn't need validation, and peace doesn't post daily. You'll see it in her eyes, that flicker of tension, that unspoken ache. The truth is, she's not proud of losing you. She's ashamed, because deep down she knows she left a man who was real for a world that's not. She traded stability for stimulation, loyalty for excitement, meaning for attention. And now she's discovering what most people never admit, that not all movement is progress, and not all freedom feels free. Her version of liberation was just escape. And every time she feels that emptiness resurface, she'll remember your steadiness, not as a memory, but as the standard. Because once a woman experiences authenticity, every imitation feels unbearable. From your end, you'll start seeing life differently too. You'll understand that your silence was never about control, it was about healing. That walking away wasn't giving up, it was self-respect. You'll start noticing how much lighter your spirit feels, how much sharper your focus has become, how peace has quietly replaced the chaos that once consumed your days. You'll realize you're no longer reacting to her absence, but responding to your purpose. And the beauty of that transformation is this: you didn't have to prove anything to her. You just had to become everything she couldn't recognize when you were right in front of her. And that's what makes your glow different. It's not revenge, it's renewal. You didn't move on to hurt her, you evolved because you were meant to. And the man who grows from heartbreak is the man who never gets broken the same way twice. Her greatest pain will come when she sees you love again, not because you replaced her, but because you learned how to love better. She'll see that you've become more selective, more centered, more grounded. You won't fall for potential anymore. You'll choose peace over passion, stability over seduction, alignment over attraction, and that's when she'll realize she never truly lost a man, she lost a future. The kind of future where she would have been cherished, protected, understood. The kind of future built on growth instead of games. Watching you give that peace to someone else will feel like a slow, quiet heartbreak, because it will show her that you didn't just recover, you upgraded. And that's a kind of pain pride can't hide, because nothing hurts more than watching someone love someone else the way you always wish they would love you again. But here's where you truly win. Not in her regret, not in her pain, but in your detachment. The man who no longer needs validation is unstoppable. You've learned to sit with your silence, to find beauty in solitude, to value quality over attention. You've stopped explaining your worth and started living it. The kind of peace you now carry can't be shaken by anyone's absence or presence, and that's the ultimate lesson. When you become complete within yourself, no one can take anything away from you. You're not the man who waits for closure, who checks if she's watching, who hopes she'll change. You're the man who walks in purpose, knowing that what's meant for you will never require you to lose yourself again. You've learned to protect your energy like a king guards his crown, quietly, confidently, unapologetically. And as for her, she'll live with the echo of your absence. It won't be a dramatic ending, no grand apology, no cinematic reunion, just quiet understanding. She'll realize you were the rare one, the man who loved without needing to possess, who walked away without bitterness, who taught her what love was by leaving when it stopped being mutual. And that realization will follow her everywhere, not as guilt, but as gravity, because some men leave footprints so deep they never fade. You were her test, her mirror, her moment of truth, and though she may never admit it out loud, she'll carry that truth forever. She had something pure, and she lost it by playing games with someone who was never playing back. You were the calm after her storm, and she'll spend the rest of her life trying to find peace in places that will only remind her of you. Eventually, she'll begin to realize something terrifying, that her entire sense of control was built around your attention. Every reaction you used to give her, every moment you explained yourself, every effort you made to fix things, it was her validation. She didn't need to love you to feel powerful. She only needed to know she could move you. And now that you've stopped reacting, she feels invisible. That's what eats her alive. She's not missing the relationship. She's missing the reflection of her ego in your eyes. She's missing the way your love made her feel significant. But the moment you stopped trying to prove your worth, her world lost its mirror. That's why women often say, "He changed." No, you didn't change. You healed. You stopped bleeding for someone who kept cutting you. You stopped feeding energy into a dynamic that drained your masculinity. That's the part she can't accept, that your peace no longer needs her chaos to feel whole. When she finally gathers the courage to reach out, it won't be because she suddenly realized her love for you. It'll be because she misses the emotional supply. She'll test the waters, maybe send something subtle like, "Hey, how have you been?" or "Saw something that reminded me of you." It'll sound harmless, even sweet, but behind it lies the same manipulation she used before. It's her way of checking if she still has access. What she doesn't realize, however, is that by now you've mastered the art of emotional control. You'll feel the tug, that small pull of nostalgia, but you'll let it pass like a wave that no longer drowns you. You won't respond out of weakness, but out of strength. And sometimes that strength means saying nothing. Because you've learned that the man who remains silent in the face of temptation holds the kind of power most people never understand, and that's the power she'll never get back from you. The more you remain silent, the louder her mind becomes. She'll start inventing stories to explain your calm. "He must be seeing someone else. He probably never cared. He's trying to hurt me." But deep down, she knows it's none of that. She knows she's simply facing the consequence of her own actions, and that's what drives her crazy. You're not trying to make her feel anything, yet she's feeling everything. You're not posting cryptic quotes or flaunting new connections, you're just gone. And absence, when it comes from a man she once controlled, is a louder message than any words could ever deliver. It tells her, "I've moved on not because I hate you, but because you no longer matter." That kind of detachment can't be faked. It's spiritual. It's what happens when a man stops orbiting around someone else's validation and starts revolving around his own purpose. As your life expands, hers begins to contract. You'll start noticing opportunities flowing toward you, new people, new connections, new energy. It's as if the universe rewards the moment you stop chasing what was never aligned. Your confidence grows, your focus sharpens, and peace becomes your natural state. You no longer need noise to feel alive. Stillness is enough. Meanwhile, she's trapped in an emotional loop, replaying old moments, trying to rewrite history in her head. She tells herself, "You were too serious or emotionally unavailable," but those are just stories she tells to mask her regret. Because when she sees your growth, your silence, your success, your glow, it triggers the truth she's been running from. She underestimated you. And now she's paying the price every woman pays when she walks away from a man who loved her. Genuinely, she realizes too late that real men don't come back, they evolve. There's a strange poetic justice in how this unfolds. The very traits she once criticized, your discipline, your focus, your emotional restraint, are now the same traits that attract others to you. What she once called cold is now mysterious. What she once called boring is now stable. The irony cuts deep. She'll see other women admiring the man she dismissed, and she'll finally understand what she had. But by then, you'll be long past needing her validation. You'll see her reappear in small ways, maybe liking your photo, maybe trying to accidentally bump into you, but you won't bite, because a man who's found peace doesn't negotiate with his past. You'll simply wish her well and keep walking. And that indifference, that unshakable calm, is the ultimate revenge, because nothing terrifies a woman more than realizing she no longer has emotional power over the man who once loved her with everything. Her regret will begin to show in subtle ways. She'll post quotes about self-love and healing, talk about learning lessons, and pretend to have found clarity. But every word will feel forced because healing built on denial always collapses. She's not healing, she's performing. She's trying to convince the world and herself that she's fine, but deep down, she knows that your absence exposed something she didn't want to see. How much of her happiness depended on controlling your emotions. Without that dynamic, she feels powerless. She'll date men who give her attention but not connection, who validate her but don't value her, who chase her but never challenge her. And no matter how much she tries to convince herself that she's moved on, she'll always feel that missing presence, that masculine calm that balanced her chaos. That void, it's permanent. Because once she's felt your energy, nothing else ever satisfies her soul the same way again. You'll notice how time begins to reverse the roles. The same woman who once made you question your worth will now question hers. The same silence that once broke you now breaks her. And the same patience you once practiced will now test her sanity. Life has a way of balancing energy, not through revenge, but through reflection. She'll start experiencing the same uncertainty she once made you feel, the same confusion, the same longing, the same helplessness. It's not karma, it's awareness. The The universe simply shows her what it's like to lose something that was meant for her but mishandled through pride. And in those moments, she'll finally understand that your love wasn't replaceable, your energy wasn't common, and your silence wasn't punishment. It was protection. Protection of your peace, protection of your growth, protection of your masculine soul that refuses to be drained again. You, on the other hand, will begin to find beauty in everything she once mocked you for. You'll rediscover hobbies, passions, ambitions you once paused for her. You'll wake up early, not because you have to, but because you want to. You'll find joy in discipline, purpose in solitude, strength in restraint. The things that used to hurt now fuel you. And one day, while you're completely immersed in your new life, you'll realize something powerful. You no longer think about her at all. Not because you've forgotten her, but because she no longer lives in the frequency you operate on. You've transcended her energy. You no longer need closure or explanation. You don't even need her apology. The story ended exactly where it needed to. And in that peace, you'll find your freedom. The kind that doesn't come from moving on, but from moving above. She'll still talk about you sometimes, maybe to friends, maybe to herself. But the tone will change. The bitterness will fade, replaced by quiet admiration. She won't admit it out loud, but she'll know you were the man who would have given her everything, had she just met you halfway. That realization will sting more than any heartbreak, because she'll see you not as the man she left, but as the man she could have grown with. And that's the kind of regret that doesn't fade with time, it grows with it. Every milestone she reaches, every empty relationship she entertains, every moment she sees you thriving, it'll serve as a reminder of the life she could have had if she hadn't played games with something real. You'll live rent-free in her conscience, not as an obsession, but as a truth she can't outrun. And in the end, when the noise of her distractions finally fades, she'll sit in silence, the same silence you once offered her, and she'll understand. She'll understand that she wasn't just loved, she was forgiven. That your withdrawal wasn't cruelty, it was mercy. That your calm wasn't detachment, it was self-respect. You didn't walk away to teach her a lesson. You walked away because you had finally learned yours. And that's the full circle of masculine evolution. When your love turns into wisdom, when your pain turns into power, when your loss turns into legacy, she'll never forget you. Not because you were perfect, but because you were rare. You showed her what real love looked like. Grounded, patient, unconditional, and what real strength feels like, walking away without needing to be understood. And long after her words fade, her silence will whisper the truth. She'll never say, "He was the one who got away because I let him."